From the tip off, we don't miss talk. Break it down, every board, every wrist flick shot. From MJ fadeaways to D-Rose cross days to them on the clutch, whole crowd in the days. We got legends on the banners, new blood on the floor. From the black front ride to that west side roll. 3 mics, 1 squad, same dream, same pop. Red jerseys on my mind, every play, every time. Turn it up, feel that rush. This is Bull Talk, this is us. Say it loud, say it proud.
What is good, Horniak Nation and Bulls fans worldwide? And welcome back to a fun-filled new look Horns Over Hoops podcast. Gentlemen, that intro goes hard. Am I right? I spent several hours constructing a new video. Well, I mean, hold on a second. Before we I tried to redo our actual intro video, and then I'm like, well, you know what? Now's really my opportunity to see if I can mess with like the music, and you know, my editing skills have gotten a little bit better. So I tried to do just a video, but I messed around with some music, and I found the song that you guys heard at the beginning, and I absolutely loved it. So here we are. Out of 10, what do you got? It's a 10 out of 10. Don't even rate it. 10 out of 10.
Don't even rate it.
Don't even rate it. 10 out of 10.
Pure cinema.
Pure cinema.
But
gentlemen,
I do have a question. Did you
Yes.
remake it because you wanted our video to have that Yuki jump ball in it? Like
Yes.
that's the only reason you
Yes.
remade it is
Yes.
just because you want that clip.
Yeah.
well,
As soon as I played the video, the first thing I saw was Yuki, and I was like, of course, Sal. Sal put Yuki first thing you see. I'm not a Yuki hater, so I do not.
chat and fans, comment what you think of the new intro in the comment section down below. If you think that the old one was better, then we're not going to change it, but I appreciate your input. I spent hours on this thing. There's no way I'm going back to what it used to be. Give your rating out of 10. I'd be happy to hear your feedback and your input. But gentlemen, speaking of rating, I have a little story for you guys. What was everybody's least favorite thing about the school year? Any school year?
The start of it, my birthday being on the very first day, that was what I hated.
Okay. Scotty B, what did you hate about school?
I just didn't do the homework, so that.
I
Not
think I
to
heard
answer
somebody
your-
say, I think I heard somebody say
you know
report.
what else? Yeah, you know what else I hate? I hated report cards.
Thank you. All right.
Great tease, baby. Just like the Bulls.
All right. All right, gentlemen. There it was. I was waiting for somebody to say report cards because, as you guys read in the title and the thumbnail, today we are going to be doing a full report card breakdown of the 2026 Chicago Bulls roster, given it's our standard A through F letter grade. Today is part 1 of the show. We encourage you to come back for part 2, which will be airing next Tuesday, and catch the second part. We're going to be doing 8 players today, and then we're going to finish off the roster here. It's just way too long of an episode to do it all in one. So, but gentlemen, before we start giving out report cards and passing grades and extra credit and determining who was the teacher's pet of the year, I went a little overboard with that one. We have to start this episode the same way we start every episode, and that's with a little game of Tuesday trivia. And today's Tuesday trivia was inspired, of course, by the Portland Trailblazers, because the Portland Trailblazers won a game, thus giving us our first round pick that we've been so covetedly anticipating. And this is a trade finalizing the Lauri Markkanen trade, which it's about, 5 years? So we finally got the pick. Moral of the story is we have 2 first round picks. My question to you, gentlemen, is, can you guys tell me who the Bulls drafted in 2009 when they had 2 first round picks?
Wendell Carter Jr. and
That was more recently than 2009.
my bad. Sorry, that was the last time we had two first rounders.
Was that when we traded for Dougie Fresh?
Negative.
What year? Sorry, I was so gung ho on Wendell Carter.
That's when we were in our trash era.
I'm
No.
sorry.
No. That was the
2009 was not a trash era.
That is not trash at all.
Is Jimmy Butler one?
Not in the first round. That was 2010, by the way.
was it
Who
Taj
did we
Gibson?
draft in? It was Taj Gibson was one. He was drafted 26th overall, and who was
There was another
drafted
first-round
first?
pick?
Drafted, yeah. We went 16 and a 26.
Tony Snell.
It could have been.
No, I'll give you a hint. He's still playing.
What team is he on?
Is that Bobby Portis? No, Grizzlies.
Is it? No, it's not Nico. Oh, he's on the Grizzlies.
I don't even know who's on
You
the
guys are
Grizzlies
gonna hate-
anymore.
You guys are
They're
going to
so
hate
bad.
yourselves for this one. So, no.
Yeah, I wish.
Obviously Dan alluded to the most recent time we had 2 first-round picks was when we drafted Chandler Hutchinson and all them and yada
Yeah,
yada
it's that
yada.
guy's name.
However, since you guys already knew the answer of who we drafted, I elected to go back to the second most recent time we had 2 first-round picks, and that is when we selected with number 16 overall, the bench mob, the posterizer, the probably one of my favorite Bulls of all time. Taj Gibson was drafted 16th overall in the 2009 NBA draft, and then 10 picks later, I'm sorry, James Johnson.
Okay, yeah.
So James Johnson and
Wait, is James Johnson still playing?
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah,
he's on
he's-
Memphis.
Okay, the
he doesn't
Taj
see a lot
Gibson
of
thing was
minutes,
yeah. Okay.
but he's an enforcer. Fun
Got
fact about James Johnson: he's a legit badass. He knows like MMA, and like that's the one guy you do not want to fight on the court.
Yes.
Like he'll choke you out.
Yes. Yeah. Every time that James Johnson's face touches the screen, the only thing the announcers will ever say is, "Oh, you don't want to mess with that guy. I heard he's he's a scrappy dude. You don't want to and I guess it's true. I guess James Johnson can throw down. So don't piss off James Johnson, which is weird
Black
because
belt.
when we drafted him, he was kind of like a skinny, scrawny, like dorky looking guy kind of.
Yeah, you look like a
you know.
winner. Can I say that?
Yeah.
On YouTube.
He is no longer in the league. James Johnson is no longer
He's
in
out
the
of the
league. He
league?
played last year. No, last year he played
What
in
was the-
Indiana and he only played 12 games.
Okay,
So he
so
played
yeah,
24,
I thought he was
25
selected.
season.
Anyway, so those are 2 very good names because like Taj very much had an incredible career, of course, but James Johnson himself also had a pretty stable career in the NBA. So the fact that the Bulls now have 2 first-round picks, I'm excited to see who we draft. And if you're listening to this, draft who you pick who you think we're going to draft and drop in the comment section down below. We'd love to hear who you think it is. Of course, I think we're going to get the number 1 overall pick selected, and then whatever it is, 15th or 16th. I don't know. I didn't follow that deep. Whatever. Either
I just hope we jump to top 4. That's all I want.
exactly. But gentlemen, report cards. These report cards will not get you sent to your room. These report cards will not get you grounded for a week. And most importantly, these report cards will not get your TV privileges taken away. Because I am talking, of course, we are giving report cards to the Chicago Bulls, as mentioned earlier, who finished the season off at a lowly 31 and 51. So basically what's going to happen here is we're going to name the player off, and we're each going to dive into in-depth analysis, but mainly just give you a letter grade what we feel like that player deserved for the year. Disclaimer before we start here: the letter grades and the opinions we give about these players are exactly that. They're opinions. There are personal opinions. If you have a difference of opinion, you may kindly leave it in the comment section down below. These remarks were not meant for triggering purposes. We're just calling it like we see them. It was a tough year. If my co-hosts or myself grade these players on a more stricter and more serious manner, it's kind of well deserved. But that being said, let's get started. Gentlemen, our first player up to bat here, we didn't see very much of him, but when we did see much of him, that man was a beast, and his name is Mr. Zach Collins. Zach Collins appeared in 10 games, amounted 9.7 points, 5.6 total rebounds, and 1.5 assists for the 2025 NBA or 25-26 Chicago Bulls season. Gentlemen, they're great. And what do you think of Zach Collins?
I'll take this one first.
Yeah, Scott, you started.
I gave Zach a D this year, and I think the reason why is he didn't play enough. We didn't get to see it. When he was out on the court, he did show that he could be a starting center for a add to middle team, which the Bulls were. I don't think for a actual contender he's a starting center, but for what this team was, I think he could have fit pretty well. And again, his biggest issue is he's always hurt. We saw it last year where he was out for, like, he joined our team and then got hurt and then came back at the end of the year and was tearing it up at the end of the year. This year, he played really well in the preseason, and then the last game of the preseason he gets hurt and he's out for 20 games. I think he comes back for 10 games. He plays really well. He was a little slow at first, and he was the guy that I was begging to come back because I was like, Vooch hates being out there. He looks depressed. He doesn't try. We need an actual center out there. And he came back. He was, like I said, he was a little slow at first, but he got injured almost immediately and had to have surgery on his toe and is out for the rest of the year, which sucks, but I couldn't give him a good grade because he couldn't stay healthy. Now, I don't know no one knows what the front office is, so I don't know what the plan is, but if you can bring him back for cheap, why not? Why not bring him back on a 1 year prove it deal, cheap? Like, he's shown that if he can stay on the court, he absolutely deserves a spot on this team. So,
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, I had to
Final
give him a
grade. D is fine.
Yeah.
Dan Gracie, Professor Gracie, what are your pupil, Zach Collins, what are you giving?
I gave Zach a C minus, and it's pretty much for the same reason Scott gave. Like, I think he's a good player. I really like him. I like his toughness and everything, but he does get hurt quite a bit, and that's the only thing that really sucks about him, because he was one of the few players that was like willing to take charges on the team, and I think that's isn't that how he got hurt? By taking a charge?
I don't really recall. I'd have to go back and check.
It's so long ago, but
yeah.
I mean, he would get bored because I based this grade off of, because we didn't see a lot of Zach Collins, the beginning of the season and a little bit what we saw last season as well. So yeah, I mean, I would bring him back as well on a prove it deal. What you got to lose in a rebuild. So yeah, I gave him a C minus overall.
Nice. I split the difference. I gave Zach Collins a D plus. And for similar reasons, I think Bulls fans collectively would agree that when Zach Collins was on the court, he was a big man that made your team that much better and definitely was a huge breath of fresh air. Moving on from when we had Vucevic still on the team and knowing that we had a backup center and Collins that was the polar opposite of Vooch, grabbing aggressive rebounds. Yeah, he didn't hit the long ball like Vooch did, but he also did other things like rebound, protect the paint, defend, all of it. I can go on and on. His only Achilles heel, no pun intended, was my man couldn't stay healthy. So I garnished him a D plus. Now his per 36 minutes is actually quite impressive. It was in 10, which is right around more or less where I'd want your starting center to be. Per 100 possessions, 25 and 14. So, I mean, those stats, I really like those stats like that. And might I add, with Zach Collins, if we're going to be grading his season, it's a D plus. But if we're going to be grading his ability to dress during the season, A plus, man. Nobody dresses better than Zach Collins. I said it once, I'll say it again, man. Zach Collins, when you see Zach Collins on the bench, first off, he's at like every single game, which I thoroughly respect. But that man is sporting some really good. You guys see some of his fits? They're so clean. Whatever.
I think you brought up a great point. He's at every game. How often do you see injured players that are out for the season at every game?
Yeah,
exactly.
So, the other Zach didn't do that. So.
And here's the thing. I'm with you guys. If we can bring him back for the cheap, I don't mind bringing back Zach Collins, because let's say he comes back and gets hurt again, because in his 7-year tenure in the NBA, Zach Collins has only amounted for 388 games. If you want to know how many games he's missed, do 82 times 7 and then subtract that from it. But yeah, if we have a team friendly contract where it's more of a, if you play, I'd be more than welcoming of Zach Collins back. I feel like if he stays healthy, he's a great player. Moving on, gentlemen, to our second player. This one's going to be a good one because I'm mainly directing this at Scotty B, because when we got this player, Scotty B was at arms. He was so upset at this acquisition, mainly because he lost his boy Iota Sumu for this person in return. He has nothing but terrible things to say to him during the season, and now he may have changed his opinion on him. I am talking, of course, of the Rob Dillingham. Now, Rob Dillingham for the Chicago Bulls, as we know, was acquired, as I just said, in that trade for Ayo Dosunmu. Played in 65 total games. I'm of course using the total when he was in Minnesota. Good enough for 6.3 points a game, 2 total rebounds, and 2.2 assists per game, all while shooting almost 40% from the field. Scotty B, final grade of Rob Dillingham.
I want to actually go through my breakdown and then I'll give you my final grade.
Okay.
Please do.
Okay. So, as it's been well documented, I am the biggest Rob Dillingham hater around. He is an undersized guard that can't shoot. He was a high draft pick that the T-Wolves were ready to move on with 1 year later. Those are major red flags, and the Bulls took the bait. When he first got here, absolute dog shit player, and I saw why the T-Wolves were ready to move on. I saw no difference between him and Dalen Terry from 2 years ago. A guy that anytime he touched the ball, he's causing a turnover or taking a bad shot. His biggest issue is he's too fast for his mind to keep up, where he would drive to the basket and instead of trying to make a layup, he would get stuck because he got to the basket faster than he thought and then would end up making a turnover or trying to throw it up with people that are a foot taller than him. So I was mad. Throughout I think he was on the team for 26 games about. I would say the last 10 games, he actually figured out what he needed to focus on, and he focused his game mainly on that. And we actually started seeing him be able to make layups when he's driving. And he actually has a really good layup package if he actually goes up before he gets to the basket. So, and I think the biggest thing we saw with Rob is his understanding that if he's driving, because he's so fast, if he stops, there's going to be no one around him. So he started doing this run to the drive to lane, stop, defender runs way past him. He's able to take either a floater or a mid range from like 5-6 feet away from the basket, and he's money from there. So he actually started figuring out what his game plan was. And I think because he was getting more playing time, and I think he actually got one-on-one coaching, and I really think Trey Jones helped him a lot. Having a player like Trey Jones can bring him up. But I don't know if I still think because he's so undersized, I don't see an actual place for him. He's a terrible defender, just god awful. He shoots entirely way too many threes. He shoots like 30% from behind the arc. That is abysmal for a guard. Luckily, he is starting to figure out that he can't shoot. So again, we started seeing him drive more. Biggest concern is he has the worst box plus minus on the team at negative 6.8 and the lowest win share on the team.
Yeah.
If you actually look at like his like offensive box plus minus, it was down like minus 10. Something crazy like that, where the offense just got so terrible when he was on the floor because he could not shoot and he just kept chucking up threes. But again, he started to learn, but it's March. You don't trust March stats because you start playing teams that are either out. Hence, we played the Wizards twice. So do you count those stats? Yeah, surprisingly. Yeah, but
Yes.
But I saw a difference of his game compared to when he first came here. And I think because he was getting those minutes, he actually developed into a competent player. Now, in actual team, say you put him on like the Heat, he's not getting a minute. He's not getting on the floor ever. You put him on the Hornets, absolutely not. He is a player for a bad team. So currently,
So you gave him an A?
maybe I'm not there yet. So really, he's a end of the bench player. He's a middle of the bench player for a bad Bulls team. I do think he will continue to be a better scorer. And if we do have the ability to keep him around with some of our veterans like Trey Jones and Giddy, because Rob Dillingham is a good passer if he's not in a stupid spot. Like, he's good at facilitating to the team. But I think if we can keep him around the players that we have as guards of Giddy and Jones, I think he can turn into an okay player, but I'll never see him more. I don't see him ever being better than a middle of the rotation bench player. So really, I gave him a D+ this year. I had him at an F at one point, but he did develop in those last 10 games, and I saw a way different aspect. And the fact that he stopped shooting threes really, really bumped him up. Like, and I'm telling you that he's got a great layup package, and that stop and pop from like 6 feet out is unstoppable. So keep doing that.
There you go. That was like a classic corporate give and take. Like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
seriously
give you like
Like
you
I was
did
in a
okay,
meeting.
but Dan Gracie, Bobby,
You didn't
or
give him a grade.
Bobby,
What?
he
No
did.
letter
He
grade.
said D.
Oh yeah, that's right. D
D.
plus. My
D.
bad. My bad.
D plus.
Robbie D for
Dan Gracie, Bobby D, Dilly Bar, whatever goofy nickname he's acquired in only the 30 games
Dingleberry.
he's played.
Dingleberry Rob.
Dingleberry. What are you giving Rob Dillingham?
I gave him, like Scott, I gave him a D plus. I didn't know who Rob Dillingham was when we first got him. I just saw like on every social media, everyone was like freaking out that we got Rob Dillingham because he was terrible. And then I saw him and he is bad. He is bad. He was bad. He's, like Scott said, he did get better, but every single time I watched the game when he first got to Chicago, he was too fast. He was so fast that he couldn't even do his passes because they would like bounce off his shoe, or someone wouldn't be in the spot where he's passing at because he is just too quick. Normally that's a good thing, being so fast, too big, too fast, too strong, but he's not big and he's not strong. So he is fast, but like Scott said, he's undersized. He's a terrible defender. Scott thinks that he's a middle of the pack bench player on a bad team. I don't think he should be in the NBA. Full stop. I think he should be in the G League. I think he's a G League player until he understands how the NBA is played. Because it was like Dale and Terry, where all of his movements were so fast. And that's understandable as a rookie because you're adjusting to the flow of the NBA game. But to be 2 years in, like, you should somewhat have that speed figured out by now. So yeah, until he like truly develops as a all-around player, I don't see a future for him in the NBA.
Okay. What was your final letter grade?
D plus. You almost made it. You almost made it.
You almost copying off of Scott's paper over there, I see. Gentlemen, I'm going to be a little bit more generous than you guys. I gave Rob Dillingham a solid C. And that's because he's your classic, C minus. I apologize. He's your classic fun but flawed guard. He is, like you said, he's high energy, but he turns the ball over. He's quick, but he also turns the ball over too much. His defense, questionable. His ability to shoot the long ball, getting there. His scoring on the drive, working on it. But also, you guys got to understand, and it's not you guys, it's Bulls fans and people in general. My man is 21 years old. I don't know what I was doing at 21 years old. It wasn't playing in the NBA amongst the best talents of the world. He's been traded from a team that he got drafted to top 10, and he's already on the move. Some people would see those as warning signs. I also see them as that kind of it takes a toll on your character. I mean, if you look at his per 36, 18-7. Yeah, not the best of numbers, but we didn't acquire Rob Dillingham because we were expecting him to be the next star of this team. Okay. His per 100 possessions, 26-10. Great numbers. Okay. I think that going forward, because like Scott touched on earlier, we don't know who the new GM is going to be. We may not see Trey Jones. We may see Trey Jones dangled as probably a part of a trade package. Who knows? I'm just speculating. But what we need to prepare for is a world where Rob Dillingham is your backup point guard. And that being said, I saw a lot of flashes of that man being able to play. His speed is off the charts. If he learns a little bit of control, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the NBA, especially you get him with another speedster going back to back, going side to side up and down the court. It'll make for a fun game. I would like to see him have a little bit more tighter handles and a little bit better shot selection and work on his basketball IQ a little bit. But for somebody to have been traded for Io to come into a second team in 2 years, being 21 years old, he didn't do half bad. I tip my hat to Rob Dillingham, C minus. Our next Bull, gentlemen, was traded. This is back to back. The previous Bull was traded for Scott's favorite player. Now this Bull was traded for Dan's favorite player. We did not do that on purpose. I'm talking, of course, of the Iceman himself, Isaac Okoro. And in case you need some reflection because he got traded for Lonzo Ball. Ladies and gentlemen, Isaac Okoro, who we acquired through the Lonzo Ball acquisition. Oh, let me get to little stats here. Was played in 63 games this season, mounting for 9.3 points, 2.7 total rebounds, 1.6 assists, while shooting 46% from the field in just his 5th NBA season. Gentlemen, what letter grade would you give Mr. Ice Baby, Isaac Okoro?
Yeah, you want to start or you want me to start?
Since it was traded for your guy, you go for it.
Okay. I gave him a B-. His perimeter defense, I thought we got him for his defense to be a defensive stopper. He was the fill-in for Caruso, essentially, to fill that role. And Patrick Williams, because we'll get to Pat later. Sorry. But yeah, we got him for his defense. I thought his defense was very solid on the perimeter. I do remember there were some games where he actually dug us out of a hole. His 3-point, I think he's a pretty solid 3-and-D guy. And for a middle of the pack kind of team that we were, I thought he filled that role perfectly. And yeah, there's not much else I have to say about Iceman. He gets a B-. Will he be on the team next season? That's hard to say since we don't know who the front office is going to be. Yeah, it would be cool if he wasn't, I guess, just to get youth on the team. Nothing against him. Like, I like him and everything. Don't get me wrong, but like, get some youth on the team and see where it goes. Oh, is he only 25? Keep him as a mentor.
Scotty B, what letter grade are you giving Isaac Okoro?
I'm going complete opposite of Dan.
Okay.
Because Isaac Okoro is talked about as an elite defensive player, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think his defensive rating is, which is how many points a team scores per 100 possession on him?
I have no idea.
Look it up, Sal.
I don't know. I don't really. No, I'm not looking it up. I don't buy into those stats.
I was about to.
The answer is 121. That is one of the worst defensive ratings in the NBA. There's only 15 players worse than him. Yes. Isaac Okoro is a terrible defender. He is not good.
Oh, man, now I regret going first.
Man.
Sorry. He literally is a terrible defender. Like
Just so we don't get chewed out, what stat was this called?
So this is the defensive rating. So it's how many points a team scores on him per 100 possessions. And this is based on, I think you have to play like 1,500 minutes or something like that to qualify. So there was like, I want to say there was like 170 players and there was only like 15 worse than him. He's almost like, I think DeMar DeRozan was like 2 away from him. That's how bad he is.
Wow.
So,
okay.
I take back everything I said. He gets a D.
I understand. But again, we put him on the team's best player usually, which is usually the shooting guard or small forward. But he can't play defense against them. And he can't score. I really expect more from a guy that was basically our starter all year. Like, you can handle someone not being able to score if they're good at defense or get a lot of assists or get a lot of rebounds. He didn't do any of that. There were certain games where he would randomly go off and score 20 points, and he did score more this year, but I just was not impressed with him. He really didn't do much for this team. I gave him a D-. I would have given him an F, but because we traded Lonzo for him, and we kind of won that trade, I gave him a D-.
We won that trade. Lonzo, I don't think Lonzo's even.
But again, Lonzo would have been out. Well, Lonzo was god awful this year. Like, I don't know how he was so bad. But does that prove Lonzo was decent for us when he was playing? He went to a good team. He was absolutely dog shit. What does that tell you about stats on our team?
They're fake.
Yeah, kind of. But again, Lonzo is super. His knees are messed up. He can barely jump.
Yeah,
his brother's a piece of shit. Things happen.
Yeah.
Whoa! Which brother? Which brother is a piece of shit?
LaMelo.
Yeah, I don't think LaMelo's a piece of shit. I just think he's a clown.
This is the second time he's gone after Bam's ankles when he was falling. So he's a piece of shit. He should have been suspended. The fact that he got fined is bullshit. He should be kicked. He should have been suspended. But that's not the point.
Yeah.
You're up, Sal. Why is he a great player?
Why did you give him a B?
I gave him a B minus, and here's the reason why. Oh yeah, sure. I'll do my usual per 36. He was between 12 and 13 points a game per 100 possessions. He's a 17, 8 points a game guy. The reality is, yeah, he's a good defender. What I thought was a good defender.
Yeah.
But again, you're putting a guy like Isaac Okoro on the best player on the other person's team. Yeah, he's going to get rocked. I want to see Isaac Okoro's stats when he plays somebody who's when his opposition is not an NBA superstar. And again, it's no excuse. Everybody has the ability to play defense, but at the same time, like he does his job, he does it well. Okay, his job is to defend and facilitate. Okay, if he can't guard Giannis, well, guess what? Nobody can guard Giannis. That's why that man averages the points that he is and is one of the most dominant players in the league. When Shaquille O'Neal was in the league and somebody could not stop him, which was everybody on the league, would you call them poor defenders?
Right now.
Or would you say that Shaq was just an insanely dominant force? If you put, and what I mean by that is Rodman's a good defender. You put Rodman on Shaq and he gets the best of him. Does that make Rodman a bad defender? No, he had a tougher opponent, which is what I'm trying to say for Isaac Okoro. His offense is still below average for a wing, which in today's NBA, that kind of matters a lot. And he kind of disappears on the court sometimes. Like, I'll be honest, there's times where Isaac Okoro is on the court and I forgot he was even there. But I do also think that having a completely different team and direction of the team really did play dividends into his performance, being injured for 19 games. And then kind of just the season was already determined that, well, you guys know what happened this season. It was already determined. So I don't fault him for that. I do see potential. I do look forward to see what he could bring next year to the team. And for that, I gave him a B minus just because he did his job. I'll say that. Scotty B, what do you got?
I was actually ready to give him a higher grade, and then Dan sent that least valuable player post, and then I actually started looking more into his stats because he was on that list.
Moving on to a player that quickly became one of my favorite memes. And what I mean by that is the second that this man was acquired by the Bulls, I immediately had a nickname in the chamber ready for him. And not only a nickname, but I actually made an actual picture of this gentleman. I know if you guys are smiling, I'm talking, of course, of the French wonder, Gerson Yabusele. And the nickname I gave him was Yabubu. And I made a little AI picture of a Yabubu. And if you don't know what a Labubu is, get out from under the rock and get into pulp culture. Anyway, well, they are creepy. Gerson Yabusele, and I'm giving you his 2025 total stats. 67 games played, 5.6 points per game, 3.5 total rebounds per game, 0.9 assists per game, and shooting 40% from the field. He played a total of 26 games for the Chicago Bulls. Gentlemen, what letter grade do you give Yabubu?
I gave him a D. I like him a lot. I think he's a decent player that can spread the floor because he has a bit of an outside shot. My main issue with him is he's already 30. He's too small to play center, and just his all-around game isn't anything like great. So yeah, I gave him a D because I mean he's undersized and he's old, and I'm pretty sure he wants to go back to France anyways. So when I saw that, I was like, you'll be missed, but not that missed. So yeah, I gave him a solid D. Yeah, good.
Pause.
My gosh.
All right.
Gave him a little bit more
All
than
right.
a solid D.
Cool.
Yeah, oh my God. He got a D. And I wish him luck in France.
All right. Scotty B, what do you got for Yabubu?
So we heard
so
he was
disappointed.
Yeah. Well, we heard he was like, the Knicks didn't want to play him. He was like, they benched him. They were just trying to get rid of him, and the Bulls were taking everybody. So he gave him to the Bulls. He said he wanted to go to France even once his contract was up, and that was before he came to the Bulls, which is fine. You take an expiring contract, whatever. Who cares? You're getting off. I don't even know who we traded for him. Like, was that just a flip?
Dale and Terry?
Yeah. Who cares?
Oh my God. So many former Bulls players are in the playoffs.
Can I say we won that trade?
Yeah.
I'm going to say we won that trade
Yeah, it's fair.
because Dalen Terry got cut by the Knicks. I don't even know where, and then he signed
He
somewhere
got traded to New Orleans.
else. Even worse. God.
I think Dalen Terry was part of the Ousmane Dieng trade.
Yeah, you know what? Gar Forman can have fun with him.
So what'd you give him?
Okay, so I gave him a D+. The biggest issue is he's 6'7" and he's playing center. He is a wing. He should not be a center. Don't. How dare you? He was doing the 6'7" bullshit.
Okay.
Yeah, he's 6'7", then playing center, but he can't get rebounds over anybody. He's too small. The only reason he's a center is because he's fat. But he tries to play
He's
a
just
wing.
A thick boy. He's a thick boy.
He tries to play wing. He's an okay shooter. He shoots 38% behind the arc. But the problem is he only shoots 16% of his shots near the basket. If you're a center, you should not just be standing out by the 3-point line. Like, I want you to be down low because I want you to get rebounds. And that's not what he's doing. If he's out on the floor, who's getting rebounds?
No one.
Like, what's the point of him being on a team like that? Like, put him as a small forward.
Or even a power
Actually
forward.
get a tall player. Yeah, or a power forward. Put him on, like, he doesn't play down low. So, like, he's not really doing much for our team. And he's 30. I don't let the old players go.
Yeah.
I think he'll go back to France, and I think he'll have a decent rest of his career, like the next 4 or 5 years in France. Like, he's fine. Like D+, maybe C-. Like, he's fine. I just think he's playing the wrong position, standing in the wrong spot for how Billy was playing him.
So I was a little bit more generous with my grading as well. I gave Gerson Yabusele another B-. Go figure, another B-. And the reason is this, man, on a daily basis, this gentleman goes out there, and despite the condition of the team, despite his height being in the way, despite whatever variable, that man is a high production worker. That man came out every single game, and no matter what his fate was at the end of this season, he knew it in his head. He still came out and worked. He had solid production, and that's something I'll always tip my hat to. The only problem is he really didn't impact the game at a high level defensively or offensively. He just kind of existed. And he's kind of just a replaceable player. My B- is graded solely on his hard hustle and muscle for the game, and the fact that, look, Yabubu had a huge role in the final games. He started a lot of those games and contributed to many crucial minutes of those games. And no matter the status of the team, I know I said earlier, he still put on his big boy boots and went out and played. So I have to commend that to him and give him a B-. I know you gentlemen mentioned France. I mean, if it's in the stars that Yabusele goes to France after this season, I wish him the best of luck, and I'm happy to have had him on the Chicago Bulls. But gentlemen, moving on to, I don't want to do this one right now because I'm not in the mood. But yes, gentlemen, Amfernee Simons, who is my favorite player. Simons must owe Scott money because Scott just absolutely obliterates Simons. So Amfernee Simons played 55 total games in the 25-26 season. He played even less for the Chicago Bulls at 6. 14.3 total for the season. 2.5 total rebounds, dishing out 2.4 assists while shooting 44% from the field. Gentlemen, Gotta be. Well, no, you know what, Scott, you're gonna go last. Dan Gracie. He's going last.
Nope.
I want you to go before me, Sal.
Yeah, Sal.
You want me to
Sal,
go? Okay.
You start.
It's your guy.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to know what letter grade I gave?
A++
Obviously you listen
with
to
a
the
little
show,
star
right?
next to it.
No, I did not give him an A++. I gave him an inconclusive. And here's the thing: no letter grade. Inconclusive.
No.
I could care less. Okay. Do you know what this man's per 36 is? He's averaging 23 to 24 points per game per 36 minutes. Okay. His per 100 is 30 plus. All right. Now, I understand that he has this problem that we like to call shoot the ball too much syndrome. Okay. The man is a shooter. That's what happens. It's
called the Ben Gordon syndrome.
Ben Gordon
syndrome.
was a beast.
Yeah, towards the end of his time on the Bulls, all he did was just chuck up terrible threes.
Accordingly, though, You're gonna fault a man like Amferty Simons for being a scorer and taking shots. Well, guess what? Scorers shoot the ball. Sometimes it goes in, sometimes it doesn't. We acquired Amferty Simons halfway through the season, and then almost the next day we threw him in a starting position. Okay, against a new team with no chemistry. Figure it out. Here you go. Go out there and shoot and play. And then he got injured. You're going to fault the man for getting injured and sitting out the rest of the season. He's still going to be a great player, I'm telling you. And he's set up perfectly to be re-signed for a cheaper contract next season because he did not play the remainder of the season. So he's in no room or position to ask for that $20 million contract that he so seeks. And if so, tell me a team who's going to be flocking at the door for an Amferty Simons. Now, am I saying he's not good? Absolutely not. But what I am saying is, come next season, when you see Amferty Simons re-sign on the team, he is going to turn heads, because who are you going to put at the starting shooting guard position?
If we draft someone, if we draft a shooting guard, I would start that shooting guard.
Maybe you're going to draft a shooting guard that we picked 9th overall or 15th overall
instead of a shitty rebuilding team. Yeah, why not? Get experience there.
Correct, but at the same time, you got a guy that's a lethal scorer like Simons, who's young. You guys know how old Amferty Simons is? He's 26 years old. Okay, that man still has a lot left in the tank, and he's shown that he's got not only a spot on the Bulls but in this league. So I'm sorry, I'm going to say Amferty Simons is what I like to call. He's my favorite type of player. He's a microwave scorer. Similar to your Monte Ellis.
I was about to
similar to your Jamal Crawford. Similar to like a Courtney Lee. He's a microwave scorer, and I love those. And guess what? Go back and look how many times Amferty Simons has torched us when he's played on the Bulls, whether it be on Boston or Portland.
That's not a flex, man.
Bring back Amferty
Everyone
Simons.
Torches us.
But I'm saying he can play. He can play.
He can play.
I want him back. Cheaper deal. Obviously, I'm not going to say let's go sign Amferty Simons for $30 million
Give him
just
the
to say
max.
we have one. Obviously, I'm not dumb, but I mean, if he wants to come back for 10 to 15 mil a year, give it to him.
Well,
dude can play.
What was your grade again?
Incomplete.
That's right.
I don't think it's fair to give this
silly
man a
enough.
grade. He played 6 games. I know I gave I gave Zach Collins a letter grade, and he played 10 games, but 4 is less than 10, so that's incomplete. Dan Gracie, what did you give Amferty Simons?
I gave him a C, and I've been like somewhat following him throughout his career because when Dame was on Portland back in the day, I was following Portland and everything. I gave him a C because, yes, that man can get buckets. But to me, for his time on Portland and for his time on the Bulls, those are empty stats because they weren't winning games. Does it? Like, you can shoot 100 and still lose, or you're still a loser. So he can ball. He can ball. I'm not trying to shit on him or anything like that. I'm not Scott. I'm not going to shit on him. I think he's a solid player. He's a good rotation player. I don't think the Bulls should bring him back. Also, fun fact, we found out today that him and Sexton probably weren't even supposed to be on this roster because the Bulls tried to trade Simons and Sexton to get Hero. So
yeah, I saw that.
This, like, Simons and Sexton was not part of the plan at all. It was just AK was too incompetent to pull off good trades. But yeah, like you said, he only played 6 games. It's kind of hard to judge a player off just 6 games, but I know he's a bucket getter. I would not sign him back. He cannot play defense to save his life. Everyone just blows by that guy. He's young, but not that young. Most players peak in their mid-20s and start to fade in their late 20s. So he has maybe 3 good years left. But yeah, it's a solid C right there in the middle.
Scotty B, we've entered the undisputed with Stephen A. Smith Horns Over Hoops edition.
Don't you bring up Stephen A.
What
on
letter
this
grade did
podcast.
you give?
What did I give him?
I don't follow him anymore.
Yeah, I gave him an F. I gave him an F.
You gave a man who played 6 games an F. All right,
Absolutely.
Go on.
We brought him in before I knew about them trying to flip him because I think the plan was every single player we brought in, other than maybe Ivy,
Was
just
be
a piece to flip.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Rob Dillingham. I think they really wanted Rob Dillingham.
Yeah, they did.
But I think every piece they were just trying to reflip because they reflipped like 3 players. So we brought him. They thought they could, if they did not flip him, they brought him in to replace the scoring that we lost with Kobe White and Vooch. How this guy is, all he does is shoot threes. 63% of his shots are 3-pointers. He shot 32% for us. That is terrible. I understand that it's a new team and whatever, and he only played 6 games, but he shot 32% and 63% of his shots. He doesn't get to the free throw line. He doesn't play defense. All he does is score. And that type of player is not something that is around anymore. Like, the league doesn't want it. He is a Cam Thomas type player, and there's a reason why Cam Thomas was cut from 2 different teams this year. Because, well, they want too much money and they don't do anything other than score. And they're what is it? This year on the Bulls, he shot 32% on the Bulls. But again, Boston traded for him and let him play for 50 games, and they wanted to move on from him. A contender took him in thinking that he was going to be a good piece to score, and they wanted no part of him after 50 games. That should say something about the type of player he is. The league doesn't want players that only score and do not play defense. There's a reason why no one wants Cam Thomas. There's a reason why no one wants Zach LaVine. There's a reason why no one wants DeMar DeRozan anymore. Because they don't help the team win. He doesn't get assists. He doesn't get rebounds. He doesn't get to the free throw line. He will be out of the league in the next 2 to 3 years. I'm sorry to tell you, the league doesn't. You need players.
Breathe, Sal. Breathe.
Like the way the league is going, like, how much different of a player is he compared to Cam Thomas? The guy was scoring 30, 35 points a game.
Thomas is a better scorer.
He got cut by 2 teams this year because it doesn't help you win if all you're doing is scoring, if you're not getting rebounds, if you're not playing defense, if you're not getting assists. If you're not a team player, why would teams want you? He's going to expect $30 million. He's going to be lucky to get 10, I think.
Simons?
He's going to expect $30 million. I guarantee it.
Sure. Everyone
but
expects
no one's going to, I guarantee he's going to be one of the last players to sign.
Yeah.
Because there's no room for him in the league anymore. The league is moving away from these type of players where all they do is score and they don't play defense. It's such a big thing now to be able to get other stats. Anthony Edwards does way more. He gets a bunch of us. He gets rebounds. He gets assists. He gets to the line. The fact that he can't get to the line,
his dad is Michael Jordan.
Ridiculous as a guard. But as a guard, also can't. All he does is chuck up threes, and he can't. I really wanted to like him because I liked what he did in Portland, but I actually watching him play, the fact that he just doesn't play defense. He doesn't try on half the floor, which is huge. He's not a team player and he can't shoot. And that's what we expected. I understand that he shot almost 40% for Boston, but when he was on our team, he was terrible.
He played 6 games.
I don't care.
6 games. He chucked up 50 shots and hit 16 of them. Let's find some common ground here.
I think my biggest problem is I see him as they're thinking of replacing Kobe White.
Yeah, no, that's how I looked at it.
I would much rather have Kobe White. I'm just saying, I would much rather have a Kobe White type player that can act. He doesn't get to the line. That's my biggest thing. You're a guard. Get to the line.
You're forgetting that they acquired Jaden Ivey before they acquired Anthony Simons. I feel like that was their answer to the Kobe White.
But I guess I don't know. He disappointed me.
Right.
He played 6 games and 3 of them were single digits.
So real quick.
I understand one was he got injured, but whatever.
Okay,
but go ahead.
Simons isn't in the NBA next season. Do you think he'll be overseas or do you think he'll be like in Big 3?
No, I think
he's going to be wearing a Bulls jersey.
He's going to be in the league for this. He's going to be in the league next year. I just don't think that type of player is leaving the league. They're not staying long. I think he'll be gone in the next 3 years.
Okay. Well, he only has 3 good years left anyways, probably.
So that was very emotional, thought out
Breathe, Sal.
statement.
Breathe.
You had mentioned no, it's fine. People don't like other players. I say this all the time. I like learning things from other people about players that I don't
There's
follow.
a lot of peas right now.
Whatever. You said that you said that he got traded to a contender, right? Yes or no?
Did he get traded?
He got traded from Portland to.
He got traded because
Boston,
they were trying.
correct?
Yes.
Hold on. So yes or no? He got traded to a contender.
Yes.
He got traded to the Boston Celtics to unload an astronomical salary that was Drew Holiday to make room for more extensions. He got traded nonetheless. Okay. He got traded again. Yes, because they're going to have to pay players like Peyton Pritchard. They're going to have to pay a lot more players who play more crucial of a role to that team. Now, does that mean that he's a bad player because he gets traded from a contender? Absolutely not. I wholeheartedly disagree with that, because you can say that about a lot of other players who've been traded from a team who just won a championship. And it's like, oh, you got traded from that team. But what about the many times that we traded our players that ended up kicking ass on other teams and we don't have a pot to piss in? So I'm sorry, 6 games is not a big enough sample size to base an opinion off of if a player should stay or not. Because I know we're all sitting here with that same mindset that no one wants to re-sign Amfernee Simons, but everybody is in agreement that we wanted Jaden Ivey back and he played less games than him. We all sat here on this panel and said that Jaden Ivey will come back. He just needs to nurse his leg, blah, blah, blah. But he's not good enough to bring back, but Amfernee Simons isn't. I'm just saying.
He was a better player.
Now I
overall.
can see,
like, his all-around game.
You know,
we don't know that.
You know,
we don't know
Jaden
that.
Ivey was statistically one of our best defenders when he played. A guy with
but that's
no
not
knees. But I'm just saying, I would rather have a guy that can play defense than someone that just sits there and chucks up threes.
And I do respect that,
yeah.
but you also need scoring facilitating off the bench. Now, I'm not saying put Amfernee Simons in as our starting shooting guard. I know I alluded to that a little bit earlier, but wouldn't you take $10 million coming off the bench, providing some much needing scoring, something the Chicago Bulls have lacked off the bench for the past umpteenth years, is a man that could come in and drop 20. Why do you think Collin Sexton stood out so bad? Why do you think players like Ayodosumo stood out? Because they came into the game and provided instant offense. Okay.
That's
where I do say yes.
Who was the first guy you just said? Collin Sexton? It's almost like they're the same player, but Collin Sexton's better.
Collin Sexton
because he's a team player. I'm just saying. We'll get to him. We'll get to him, but they're basically the same player where all they do is just score. But Collin Sexton, I would say, is a better team player.
I would say, yeah.
So
if you're team player too,
if you're resigning between both of those, you bring in Collin Sexton back.
I'm like, hey, you know what? People are not going to like this, but because we're not really doing anything, if money matches, listen, Bulls fans are going to have to understand we're bringing back a majority of these players. Okay. All these expiring contracts, they're not flocking and leaving. Most of these players, I guarantee you, we have 8 expiring contracts. Mark my words, 4 or 5 of them are coming back.
I think you're thinking too much that AK is still here, because I think if AK was here, they would absolutely try to bring as many of them back because they can't admit that they were wrong. We don't know who the new GM is and what their plans are. There's a very big possibility. Yeah, we could be bringing them back, but say we want to get rid of everybody. Say we would trade Giddy right now because he's at his prime. Like, you can get a lot for. You should be able to get at least a first-round pick from him. Maybe send him back to OKC. Give us 7 first-round picks.
Sam Preston.
Okay. All right.
You send them down to New Orleans. They're willing to give up all their first-round picks for nothing.
Moral of the story is players like Amfernee Simons still. Well, you'll see. I'm just going to say, you'll see.
I have to disagree with the statement that you made about these players being re-signed. Like, it's a possibility, but like Scott said, we don't have a front office right now, and I doubt any competent GM would re-sign most of these guys.
Okay. Well, before we move on to Giddy, would you think it's cheaper to re-sign players from a losing franchise or cheaper to re-sign players from a winning franchise? Is it cheaper to retain play? What I'm asking is,
if you're retaining, I think a lot of players would not want to move. So that's part of it too. So yes, but I think he's going to expect too much money. He's going to want.
They can expect what they want. That's out of our hands. Expecting money is one thing. I can walk into Jerry's office and say I want 30 million. He could tell me to go scratch. Okay. You know what he's going to say? He's going to say, look, dude, you played 6 games. You really think that I'm going to pay you 30 million when our best player makes 25? Let's get real. And not only that, you're not going to make 30 million. No team is going to pay you $30 million. Okay. So your best chances are staying here in Chicago for here. I'll give you 12 million. You signed a 3-year deal, make 12 million a year, and you come off the bench and provide that spark.
I don't think that's.
And that's I'm using Amferty Simons again but that's anybody. Like,
so no, because not too long ago, oh my God, Dennis Schroeder did that with the Lakers. He wanted X amount of money. The Lakers said no, and he went to team asking for that kind of money, and ended up on, I forgot what team, but he asked for some godly amount of number and only got like maybe 6 mil. So like, yeah, like Jerry can tell him to go kick rocks and you're not going to get that, but we'll give you this instead. That doesn't mean he's going to take it. Like that's exactly what I'm saying. I can see like Simons asking for X amount of money, it being way too much. Jerry telling him, how about this instead? And then he just takes his ball and goes home, or goes to New Orleans, or goes to DC, or, XYZ. So I forgot how we got here.
The difference being is the decision of, it doesn't ever solely fall on the player. They have agents. I'm pretty sure Amferty Simons' agent will say, or again, I'm singling out Amferty Simons, but any one of these players, like, hey,
he's competent.
You didn't have too hot of a season. They're at least offering you a contract. Let's shop around. Hey, you know what? Chicago, we'll think of this offer. Week to think about it, or however it works. I don't want to even pretend like I'm an agent and know how it works. Shop around. You're going to get offers. Hey, you know what? I didn't get the offer I wanted to. I'll happily sign your 10 million and stay in Chicago.
We might have moved on by then, though. We might have signed someone else to replace him. Been like, oh, he doesn't want to sign here. We'll sign this guy instead.
That's a possibility too, but we've already established this unrestricted free agency class coming in this year is not one to write home about. So if you want to overpay for unrestricted free agents that are less valuable than the players we already have, just to experiment, that's a different story.
I mean, I would take some of the restricted free agents over Simons.
Restricted? You're going to overpay for restricted.
Okay.
You're going to overpay for restricted free agents, and I suppose it's a story for the offseason.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, for time crunch purposes, we're going to move on to the star of the hour, Josh Giddey. Not just the star of the hour, but the star of the team. Josh Giddey, kind of unanimously, I think we could all agree, Giddy has been our best player on the team. He's kind of emerged as quote unquote the leader. I'll just call him the leader. He was stricken by the injury bug this year in his fourth. He played 54 games, 17 points, 8.3 total rebounds, 9.1 assists, while shooting 45% from the field and 36.4% from beyond the arc. Gentlemen, Josh Giddey. Scotty B, what do you got?
I gave him a B+ this year. So about time I finally gave someone a good grade. But
no kidding.
I know it's always been a saying, don't ever trust March or April stats, because again, teams either have clinched and they're not trying, or they're trying to lose. So you can never trust it. Josh is kind of the exception to this rule. Looked exactly the same as he did the previous year. So he was a really good player. I said at the beginning of the season, there's a possibility he could average a triple-double. He really wasn't that far off from averaging a triple-double. I think he had 17, 8, and 9. He was pretty close. He had 13 triple-doubles this year. He's second all-time in Bulls history, only behind Michael Jordan. So he's going to break that next year. If Jordan has 28, I believe.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So he's at like 19 or something like that right now. So he's going to break that next year. He's going to be the Bulls' all-time leader in triple-doubles. And again, he could, I think in the next 3 years, he's going to be averaging a triple-double with this team, especially if you start getting players that can actually score. Once you start getting better players around him. But his biggest issue is he can't stay healthy. Like you said, he played 54 games this year. Same thing with last year. He kept getting hurt. I don't think he's ever played a full season or above 70 games. So if he can stay healthy, and he meshes pretty well with like anybody, like that was one of my biggest concerns with the trade deadline, is can Josh Giddey play with these players? Because it's a brand new set of players. And really, I think it took him one game and he was fine. Like, he was exactly the same Josh as we saw. I remember watching like one of you guys were doing a live stream of a game, and you guys just kept saying, is he on pace for a triple double? Is he on pace for, let's check his stats. Is he on pace for a triple double? It's like, you're kind of expecting it from him. It's kind of like when we had Vooch, you're like, you expect him to get a double double. So it's like, he's obviously, he should not be a point guard because of how tall he is, but his passing is just so good that you have to. He's turning into one of those players that if you need him to take over a game, he will do it. And he seems pissed that he is doing it.
Yeah, he doesn't like doing
but
it.
But he absolutely will come in and drop 25 points if you need him to. He's second on the team in win share with 3.2. So we've won 3.2 games because of him this year. He led the team in offensive box plus minus. So when he's on the floor, we are positive 2.3 points. So if he's out there, we're scoring. His defense has gotten a lot better than last year. That was our biggest thing, was he was getting taken off in the fourth quarter because he could not play defense. He could not be trusted to end games. He is out there all game now. He has gotten a lot better. I think he's getting a little bit more confident too, with like staying in front of and where to be. So really, I think he had a good year. If he wasn't injured, I would give him a higher grade. He still has issues turning the ball over. He turns the ball over a lot, and it jumped up this year from 2.9 to 3.6 a game, but he's getting more playing time, but he needs to learn how to control the ball better. There's a lot of times where he would run up the court and just dribble it off someone's foot or make an errant pass because he picks the ball up and he doesn't know what to do with it. His shooting definitely did drop this year, but he was expected to score more because the team was so bad at points because there were so many injuries. So you kind of expect that, but if he can stay healthy, I think he can become one of the best point guards in the league. And he kind of already is. And he's a backbone of this. He's one of the backbones of this team's future. So if we can get some actual good players around him that understand where to be and move off ball, because that was one of the other things, is everybody would stand around. So if you're passing to someone, how many assists are you really getting? They're just going to stand there. If they're not taking an open three, they're passing it somewhere else. So if we get some players and some movement on the offense, I think that there's very big possibility that he's an all-star soon. At one point, he was on pace he was in the MVP conversation at the beginning of the year. Again, beginning of the year. But yeah, I think what was it? I think he had 19 assists one game, which absolutely insane. So Josh Giddey, big fan of his, but again, I don't know what the new GM's plan is, because this is the high point of this is Josh's prime right now, kind of, where you can trade him for something. So do you blow everything up and get whatever back, or do we run with Josh Giddey? So I don't know what the front office is going to do. I would love Josh Giddey to stay on this team. I know some people have issues with him for some reason, but I think it's just his health.
Dan Gracie, what do you grade the Aussie Jordan that is Josh Giddey?
People that Scott was talking about, that's me. I gave him an F.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. I gave him a B plus, just like Scott.
Okay.
No, I like Giddy. When he first came in onto the Bulls, I was not happy because, I just didn't like that trade. But now I think it was one of the most fair trades ever. Yeah. He, like Scott said, he almost averaged a triple double at the beginning of the season. I also said that I thought he was going to be averaging a triple double. But yeah, just his size, passing ability. He's not that good at defense. His shooting did go down, but I mean, last season it was 47%. This season it's 45%. Like, I think next season he will be back at that 47-50 range. But yeah, just Josh Giddey, man, he's a good player. He's a good
Enough
player.
said.
There's a reason
Josh
why
Giddey.
he's on the Australian team for the Olympics and everything. Like, he's one of the best in the world at what he does. I mean, that's being a point guard on a basketball team. I know, Scott, I know you said that he shouldn't be a point guard, but like, I see him, and yes, he 100% is a point guard. Just because he's big doesn't mean that he can't be a point guard. Magic Johnson was big, and he was one of the greatest point guards of all time. So that's it. That's it. That's all I got.
That's a good one. Gentlemen, we have our first three-way tie for grades because I also gave Mr. Ozzie Jordan himself a B+. There's really not much bad you could say about Josh Giddey other than the fact that his defense could use a little bit of work, but scoring efficiency, his high usage. I mean, he's averaging, you guys said he'd average a triple-double this season. His per 36 minutes, he's averaging 19, 9, and 10, and his per 100 is 26, 12, and 13. I will never use an injury to fault somebody or to take a player down from a letter grade. I will just say that it was inconclusive. I didn't give him a B+ because of his injury. I give him a B+ because there's always room for improvement. To say that Josh Giddey is at his full potential and he can't do anything better would be giving him an A. And in my opinion, if you got an A, you don't need to do anything else. You don't need to improve. You're there. Josh Giddey can improve and be that much more deadlier. As far as the trading him, I don't think you're going to get much of a return for Josh Giddey that isn't better than Josh Giddey. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not that was ever a conversation, but I know that there are people out there that exist that want, to explore a trade with him in it. I'm just letting everybody know you're not going to get a Josh Giddey in return for a trade for Josh Giddey. It's not happening.
Well,
gentlemen, go ahead.
Oh, because again, I forgot to bring it up in mine. When Scott was saying that he could be traded, but I don't know a team that needs Josh Giddey. Like every team seems to be pretty set with their own point guard, except Memphis. But that's an entirely different conversation. Oh yeah, Sacktown needs to one as well. But these are full rebuild.
A new everything
teams.
though.
They need new. Yes, yeah. So moving on, our next player is. We'll find out next week because we've reached the end of part 1 of this player grading. Oh man, gentlemen, this was a good one. We've had it all. We had debates. We had grades. We had Dan Gracie having blonde hair. I don't know. That's all I got.
Nothing new there, baby.
Please, we do encourage you to check out episode 2, which will be 1 week from today, next Tuesday, to hear players such as Collin Sexton, Modest Buzelis, and the rest of the 2026 Chicago Bulls roster we did not mention today. With that being said, we encourage our Bulls fans and our Horniacs to keep their hoops high and their horns even higher. Good night, everybody.